Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another session of Free to Heal, where we come together with formerly incarcerated, their loved ones, children, anybody affected by the criminal justice system for us to try to heal the ravages of what mass incarceration has done to us as individuals, families, community, and everything. And we come together every week to try to talk through these things and help us get solutions to problems that are become common amongst us. And so tonight, last week, we had a great session, and our beloved Miss Diane actually came up with the topic, and she contacted me the other day and said, I have another topic. And so since it went so well last week, Miss Di.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I talked to Miss Noreen, and I told her today's topic should be totally being honest with yourself.
Okay, so the topic, let Rufus turn that off.
You gotta turn your phone, the volume down.
Can you hear me now? Okay, so the goal, the thing is to be totally direct and honest with yourself. To the point of
How you doing, bro?
being straight with no chaser. And not only did Rufus come, but he brought another gentleman. Hi, I'm Noreen. And so look, what's your name? You got to tell the people.
My name is Uriel Pineda, part of the Francisco Home. I'm a member. I've been incarcerated 23 years. I just got out 7 months ago.
Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
I think I logged on once.
Did you think? Okay, and it's Uriel, Uriel. Pineda. Okay, good, because I got to give you credit for being here. So, we just are glad that everybody's here. Now, one of the things, when I looked up the word direct, right, because I love to use the definition of words so that people are not, we're not talking two different things, all right? We have often talked in this group about how important it is for us to be honest when we're trying to have healthy relationships and that kind of thing. Well, we've talked about the need to just be honest with ourselves and be honest with the people that we talk about. But the most important thing, I think I've said this all the time, the most important relationship we have is the one we have with ourselves. So if we can start with us being honest with ourselves about who we are, that would be a great thing. That would be a great thing. So when I started looking back at my history, and when I was, writing my book, and I had to start looking back to see why I did the things that I did, why I participated, huh?
Is that when you were picking cotton? Did you go that far back?
He asked me if I went back to when I was picking cotton. No, because I ain't never picked no damn cotton.
They picked no cotton?
I ain't picked no damn cotton, honey. These hands, look, I didn't play in the dirt.
I have.
I didn't play mud pies. I didn't do none of that shit. I don't like dirty hands. Sorry. So sorry. So no, I didn't go back that far. But I know some of my ancestors picked some cotton for sure. But what I found out was the most effective tool that I used to begin to heal was to look at myself. So I will tell you that there were things that I did and participated in that I was not proud of. But in order for me to heal, I had to face it. I had to acknowledge and be real with myself that those were the things that I did, that there were things that I wasn't proud of. So Di, I want you to go ahead and talk to everybody about what raised that topic for you.
What raised the topic was basically the conversation that we was having on Saturday. Like, majority of the times people, you could sit yourself in a situation, or you could sit someone else in a situation. You can dissect everything that's going on with them, but then you leave part of your stuff out. You put yourself into a degree like, oh, not too far, but you still, once again, you're not being told honest on what you did or how you did it, and what took place for you to be where you were, because that's the hardest part, to really sit down and say that. What took place would make me to be where I was, to invite the things that I was inviting and doing the things that I was doing. Instead of sitting up here dissecting someone else, be totally honest with yourself. We all make mistakes. No one's perfect. You know what I'm saying? Who's perfect? No one's perfect, but be honest with yourself.
I
I did
am.
this, that caused that. But everybody don't want to tell that part. Okay, if I did something I had a gang of parking tickets in Vegas. Okay, out there in Vegas, if you don't pay your tickets, they do try to lock you up. Okay, so I had to do 10 days, but that was my fault. I didn't pay the parking tickets. It wasn't nobody else's fault. Be honest with myself. I did that to myself. Being honest on what you did to yourself, that hurts you because you don't want nobody to know that. You don't even want to talk about it because that's why you talk about everything else. But I was honest with myself. These are things I did. I participated in not paying my tickets. So they got me locked up for 10 days.
Mm-hmm. And you have to, and when you did that, I'm sure part of that was if you got any more tickets, you paid them tickets, didn't you?
Oh, I don't have no more tickets, ma'am. No.
They didn't have to tell you again.
I don't do tickets. I don't do tickets.
They didn't have to tell you that no more. So
yeah, I don't do tickets.
By you being honest with yourself, you didn't have to go through that 10 days in jail again.
Never.
Why?
Never.
Because you were honest with yourself. It was my behavior.
It was my behavior. Yes.
To behave.
Mm-hmm.
That caused me to go to jail for 10 days. It wasn't that the people in Vegas shouldn't be putting you in jail for, don't they have some real criminals to go?
Right.
Because people do that. Don't they have some real criminals, some real crime they can
better
fight?
Stuff to do.
They want to mess with me over some old funky old parking tickets. Well, you should have paid the damn, whatever the thing was, whatever.
What? I should have been parking when they told me not to park there, but I kept parking there because it was closer for me. So that's why I did. So, but they told me don't do it. I kept doing it. That was my fault.
More convenient.
I want to know if you got pictures.
You want to know what?
I want to know if you got pictures.
Mugshots?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in Nevada.
Yeah, they're gonna take your picture.
Blow one up and give it to me.
Yeah. Okay. We could find a better picture than that. We already gave him one picture of us that he should have in his house hanging up.
He better have it in his house. He better have
it hanging up in his house. And I don't want to fight with him about that.
We gave him a frame and everything.
So we're not doing mugshots because too many of us got mugshots because we don't have his damn mugshot, huh?
I don't
gave us that one.
You know,
we don't even want it, huh?
I don't want that.
No, we want this face, not the mugshot of the other guy.
Same prick.
Look, but he don't look the same because you was 36 years, longer than that ago. You was 40-some years younger when they took that first one, huh? The last time.
Now I ain't got no teeth.
Okay. So it ain't the same face. Talking about now he don't have no teeth. He just got finished explaining to us that he could eat a steak.
I can't.
With his gums. But that's a story for a whole nother night.
Oh,
That's a whole other discussion, okay? How he gonna gum this daggone steak to death. It's okay. We'll talk about that later. But I definitely want people to chime in about and about the topic. How important is it for us to be honest with ourselves no matter what the circumstances are? Okay, Pike got his hand up.
I've always been honest with myself. I knew I was going back to prison. It was just when they caught me. You know, I was robbing and doing other shit. And that's why I never got married, because I didn't want to go to prison being married. Because having kids and being in prison is a bitch. I've seen it. I've seen guys just, go out of their minds. So that's why I never married. Not that I couldn't have back then, but
what you saying? Somebody would have took you when you had some teeth.
Yeah.
They would have took him anyhow. They'd take him today, quite frankly.
They'd take him right now.
Right, truth be told. But the reality is that yes, that was a wise decision on your part because it protected not just you, but any woman that would have been involved with you, any children that you might have fathered during that time. You prevented a more drama or trauma on the next generation by the choice that you made by recognizing I'm doing what I'm doing. I like what I'm doing. Because you used to say that all the time, I like robbing. So therefore,
he liked the bar fights.
Right. He liked the robbing and the bar fights and stuff. He liked it. So he knew he was going to do it again. Didn't make no sense in him messing up somebody else's life because he was going to be there doing it. So, that was a good decision.
Very good.
Huh? I don't.
Somebody would have said something, and you were going to say something, Miss Tony.
Back then, we didn't use rubbers.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So I think take the conversation 180 degrees, and I think learning how to be truthful with yourself and is very it takes some dead weight off of you. It takes some stress off of you. I can remember a situation with my daughter. I tried to walk her through my mistakes when she was age to understand what those mistakes looked like. And there was a situation where, you know, I told her, when you talk about the effects of drugs and things, and I told her, you know, I'm about to reveal to you something that I had never revealed to anyone. And I experimented with drugs with your dad. And I instantly understood why everybody got wrapped up and hooked up. And I said, oh no, we can't do this. And he was like, oh yeah, we can do it. We can just do it. And I said no. And it instantly started a war between us. And, you know, within 6 months, it was like money was missing, you know, things weren't where they were supposed to be. And I'm looking at him and he looking at me like nothing's going on. And I'm like, you gotta go. And I never looked back. And so, gosh, I want to say maybe my daughter was, and this was when she was 1.5, 2 years old. So fast forward to like 2021, her dad comes home from prison. He spent part of her junior high and all of her high school in prison. And he came home and, you know, there was the friction. And I was like, yeah, you know, I don't want to see him, you know, that's your dad, whatever. I have to respect that. But, you know, he was like all up in my face. And I was like, don't get in my face. You know, if you know me, you know, I cut you short. And he said to my daughter, I don't know why your mama thinks she all that. Ooh. He did. I got her. Not I got her, but she did drugs with me. Mm-hmm. And my daughter said, she did. Why she was able to tell me why I shouldn't do drugs. Mm-hmm. And why to this day I haven't done drugs. And he was like, he told you? And she said, yeah, she told me. And it was, you know, he looked like Boo Boo the Fool, because it's like Noreen said, we all make mistakes. We all have things we want to take back, but we can't take them back. But we have to learn how to live with them. But we don't have to ingest them to the point that they turn to poison in our body. We can free ourselves from that and say, hey, I can tell you this, that, and the other, because I've been through these things. I understand these things. And our children, whomever, we need to understand that we're not perfect. Mm-hmm. And we don't have to live in any type of bubble. And that's the reason why I walk the way that I walk. I talk the way that I walk, because I do have some of the lived experiences, maybe not all of them. You know, I got a mug shot in Georgia, but you know, I have experiences just like other people. Maybe I don't have everything that you have, but I am whole and I am truthful and I am as honest as I'm going to be. We're not going to be 100%, but I am about 98.6% truthful to myself and to those around me about where I've been and why I'm the way that I am.
And what I heard that was so powerful about that is this. What you being honest with your daughter ahead of time did was it took the thing and it took the ammunition away from him to use it against you. Once you tell the truth, and once even if you're willing to admit it to yourself, because I know when I could verbalize to myself, you're in all this pain because you did this to yourself. That was very hard. That was like, ooh, okay. But then after that, for somebody else to say, well, Noreen, you can't be mad at him because he only took advantage of what you allowed him to do, then it becomes a different thing. It's not problematic for me to say, somebody has something. It's not problematic for me to say that what I've done. Is everybody able to hear? Because I see Hyung, is it better, or is the sound better for you now? I can't hear. You're on mute, sweetie. Unmute.
Before I couldn't hear anything. I have everything maximum, but I'm having a real hard time hearing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so everybody, if you will just make sure, especially in the room, if you could speak up so that he can hear you. Is everybody else able to hear? I just want to make sure. Okay, awesome. But what I was saying is that when you take the sting out of it, you take the power out of the accusation, and you also, Tony, put yourself in a position where you don't have to try to hide the fact that something happened. So with your daughter, you never had to hide the fact from her that you did anything, because you told her what you did, right? And you learned from your experience. So the ability to be honest with yourself empowers you and disempowers those people that, who intend to harm you by those things that you've done.
It wasn't about, it does take the sting away, but it wasn't about him.
Right.
I wasn't even expecting it to, come out of his mouth or anything. And it didn't come out of his mouth for, maybe 12 or 13 years later, but it wasn't about him. It was about me. It was about me wanting her to understand, yeah, you might see your mom as somebody that's independent, that takes care of business or what have you, but I slip, trip, and fall just like everybody else. And you need to understand, I fuck up just like the next person. Maybe mine's is not as big or greater, but I have to pick myself up and I have to learn how to move forward. And I wanted her to understand, this is why I do the things that I do, because I want to teach you how to pick yourself back up afterwards.
Which is so important, is that we need to learn, what I think we need to be teaching children, which people don't do today, is they want their children not to actually have to experience any hardships, but really what you need to be teaching them is how to cope with hardships. Teach them how to deal with it, because they are going to come. And when they come, they need to know how to deal with those things. Okay, Pike, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, it's just like you go places in let's say, this is me now, I'm not saying for somebody else, but I don't have a problem telling somebody I killed 2 people, because I was defending myself. But I don't like to lie. I mean, I'm too old, and I don't really give a shit if somebody don't like me, because you can kiss my butt. Yeah.
Yes, and I feel the same way, and I'm not as old as you, but I feel the same way. I think for me, the thing is, I'm too old and take too much responsibility for myself to have to lie to somebody else. Lie to you for what? Because what are you doing, or who are, if I had to lie, I would lie to my mom because I didn't want her to whoop me. You know what I'm saying? But
Well, you know what?
That would have been a reason too. But like, don't nobody have no authority over me that is so deep that I'm prepared to lie to you. Because for me, like, even with my board of directors, I work at their pleasure. If they decide tomorrow they want to fire me, they can fire me, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie to them. I'm gonna tell them the truth.
You know what gets me is, I know I screwed up. All my life I was incarcerated from the time I was 11. And one time in church, once a month they have it where people come up and talk, you know, say what they want to say about the church. I went up there and I told them, I said, you know, I did kill 2 people. And I said, you know, I had a hard time in prison because I tried to go back to church a couple of times. And it really didn't come till one day I was sitting in there playing dominoes. And it was at Tracy. And they said Mormon church services. And for a week, I thought about it. You know what I mean? I kept thinking, because I tried before and I didn't care for the people. But for some reason it kept bugging me and bugging me and bugging me. So I went back. And from that time I went to the time I got out of prison, I probably missed maybe 2 or 3 less, you know, on a lockdown. You don't count those.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't preach to people because that's not me. You know what I mean?
But you believe what you believe.
I do. And I believe in the church.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to stand on the corner and say, you know.
But you're also willing to tell the people in the church the truth about, in other words, that's the point, is that you were willing to explain the truth or say the truth, and be honest and direct about who you are and what happened.
Yeah, but I had a lot of problem inside because I was Mormon. And mostly with blacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I just told them straight up, kiss my ass. And if you want to do something about it, we'd go do something, you know, because I wasn't going to change and I wasn't going to bow down and say because you belong to this gang or something that you're going to scare me. Because nobody scared me in prison.
Yeah, that's the problem. That was half of your problem. If your mama had got you out that first time before you had that fight, he always says if his mom had got him out right away when the first time he went to juvenile hall at 11 years old before he had the first fight, he probably would not have spent as much of his life incarcerated.
I wouldn't have spent any.
You know, because he would have been afraid. He would have been afraid and didn't know that he could survive the fights. So, but again, even that was being honest with yourself and being direct and clear about what the circumstances were. You know that had you had a different circumstance, had something different happened immediately, you would not have wound up spending the bulk of your entire life incarcerated.
When I went to juvenile hall the first time, I was scared. But after the first fight, I didn't give a shit.
Right.
Because I could fight. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't stabbing and all that shit back then. And then as you moved up to the youth authorities, I spent 3 years in the hole in juvenile hall. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying they never kept anybody over 2 or 3 months or something. And I spent 3 years in the hole there. I went to the youth authority in the last 2 years or something. I was in the hole there permanent.
Let me ask you a question. Because I'm curious to know that time in the hole, do you think that being in solitary that long, do you think that affected you? Do you think that spending that amount of time in the hole actually affected your life and the way that you see things?
Well, let's put it this way. Figure the cells are about as long as they are in Folsom. We're talking 1, 2, maybe 3 steps. I could sit there for hours walking back and forth in that cell, thinking about all kind of crazy ass shit. And do it for hours and hours. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
After a while, I didn't know anything else.
Mm. And how old were you? So you were under 18.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So being that young, just think about the fact that he was required to adapt to that kind of living, that kind of quality of life based on those circumstances.
Well, back then, the most time that people did in the youth authority, maximum was a year.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 5-6 years.
Mm.
You know, everywhere I went, the amount of time
Was longer.
a hell of a lot longer than
Mm-hmm.
the other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went from the youth authority to prison in Alabama. That's why I said I picked cotton.
Which I have never done, have no intention on picking no cotton, okay?
No,
never did none, and he did it in Alabama where they took prisoners out and had them doing that kind of labor. But I wanna open up, I will also give others an opportunity to chime in comments, thoughts, circumstances where you having to be honest with yourself has actually, and I want to know whether it helped or hindered you. Okay, Patrick, go ahead.
Yeah, I find it really interesting that regardless of what we're talking about and how, that famous word and subject comes up. We have to stop being prideful and we have to start being honest with ourselves to realize, are we fucking up? Are we hiding? Do we have to admit this is what's going on? One thing I'm guilty of, and to live in society, we have to share it with people. We have to communicate. And a lot of times I would just sort of skirt around society and let society and people think I'm more than what I am just because I wasn't communicating with them. And it doesn't work. You get down on yourself, you get down on other people. It's sort of antisocial behavior. That's something I learned in my anger management, that to function in our society right now, we have to interact with people. We have to stop being prideful. And a good way of talking to people is say, you know, I sort of think about things this way, or I kind of do things that way. I don't always agree with myself doing it that way or the other way, but you have to address people that way, like we say. It's how you talk with people and the fact that you are talking with people. We have to share more and be more honest, like say, oh, I fucked up. I screwed up. And people tend to be more forgiving or more accommodating with you when you say, like Diane and everybody else that says, we screwed up. We're human. Well, we're trying to improve.
Yeah, but you know what?
Wait 1 second. Like I said a couple weeks ago, right? What was those things, Jonathan, that I said that you like? One is I was wrong, I don't know, and I'm sorry, right?
Yeah.
Those three things, they really help, because what they do again is they take the power out of somebody else's, the weapon they want to use against you. I was wrong. Oh, I don't know. If you tell somebody I don't know, then they can help you find out, right? They can show you the way. You could be taught. But if you're so prideful that you want to hide from the reality, what's going to happen is people expect you to perform in a different way. Say, for example, they expect you to know something. If you don't say, I don't know, they expect you that you do know. And the fact that you didn't say anything, you didn't tell somebody that you don't know, they're expecting you to behave like you do know. Well, to me, that just put more pressure on me. It just made things more difficult for me. It made things filled with more anxiety, because now I'm trying to hide the fact that I don't know. Oh my God, it's just so not helpful to me. And it's okay to not know. Oh, it's absolutely wonderful to say I don't know, because it frees me up. It frees me up again to be taught, to be helped, to be led in the right direction, to be shown the way. Okay, it gives me all of those things just by simply being honest, not just with me, but with somebody else. And then the other thing is, but on this topic, the most important person for me to be honest with is me. I got to admit to myself what I do and what I don't know in order even to be able to say I don't know, right? I got to admit that I was wrong in order to be able to tell that to somebody else. And when I do that, that gives them, because there's nothing worse, and I'm sure we'll all agree, for a person to be offensive to you or do something to you that's offensive. And then they come and they apologize. They say, well, I'm sorry that something like this. I'm sorry you felt that way. Fuck you mean what I felt? No, how about what you did? Okay. Or, gaslighting. I'm sorry that you took it that way, or I'm sorry, but the reason that I did it, leave I'm sorry right where it is. That is a complete sentence. Just put a period right there, because what happens is it's hard to get over it if the person is not willing to actually admit what they really did. Okay, that becomes a problem. That becomes, people can't heal if you're not willing to admit the truth. Okay, and there's a way. Go ahead. You want to say something else?
I can't read. I got hit by a car when I was little. And if I go somewhere and you know it, if you say something and I don't believe it, we talk about it. You know what I mean? If you can prove to me that what you're saying is right, cool. But if I don't think it's right, I'm going to tell you. And not knowing how to read is a bitch. You know what I'm saying? But I can read people. I mean, I can see somebody and talk to them in 5 minutes. I can pretty much put
the character.
Yeah. And so I don't have a problem telling somebody to fuck off. You know what I'm saying? But I think if somebody's trying to teach me something and is honest, like you, when I first met you, I knew you was a good person. No, I'm just saying, I knew in the first meeting that you were a good person. And what you tried to do is to help people. But I've seen so many phonies that you know, get up and this and that and all that, and they're all about something.
And not really.
And I can just look at them and say, you're full of shit, dude.
Yeah, something, you know, is one thing is that there is, when he talks about reading, there's more than one way to read, right? There's more than one way to read, and you can read a person's disposition and their character is going to show up, okay?
Quick.
Very quickly. People can fake for a little bit. They can put on a front and act like they somebody else for a little bit, but all you got to do is hang in there and keep listening, and sooner or later, the real them is going to show up. What's going to happen, Di? What happened? What was that move? Take it. You got to unmute and tell us what you say.
The mask slips.
It's like that. It's gone. It's gone. And wait, Di, it's like this.
Like, is that the same person? Yeah, that's the same person, baby.
Please see you. I see the real you at this point. And you know what? That's such a powerful, good point, Diane. And that's this. Most of the time, when people think that they're hiding who they are, people who know see right through it. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. People will know, anybody who really knows. It's like, okay, so I've never been to Folsom.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going on the 13th of September, though. My first time. Yay! So anyway, but I've never been there. I could sit here with you all day long. You could tell me about Folsom or how it's set out or whatever. And if I start talking and I'm trying to make it seem like I've been there and I know, you're going to be like, she ain't never been there. What I'm saying, listen, this is what I'm saying. The issue is you're going to know that I don't know what the heck I'm talking about because you actually been there.
Folsom's not Folsom anymore.
Well, no, it's all broken up into a couple of things.
Yeah, but I'm saying that Folsom is not Folsom. Folsom's a level 2.
Now, right.
Yeah.
Right.
When I did time in Folsom,
Uh-huh.
that was a killer joint. I mean,
right, but I'm talking about, like, if you talk about something physically, right? If we sit here talking about how it's laid out and where the chow hall is and what facilities are there and all those kinds of things, right? I could sit here and try to make you believe that I know what's going on at Folsom, but because you actually been there, you're gonna know that I'm lying. Trying to hide and fluff and make it seem like I know something that I don't know. People who know. And you may sit in the room and let me talk all that shit and never say a word, but not say nothing at all. But then when it comes up, you're like, when somebody say she ain't never been to Folsom, because when she no sense, right?
I seen a guy get killed because back then, come 3 o'clock, then there 90% of the people was watching soap operas.
Oh,
been doing it for years and years. I seen a guy get killed on the yard because he called some broad on the TV bitch, and the guy said, "What'd you call her?" A bitch.
A character.
Yeah,
a character.
And he killed the dude over it.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
That just tell you how he deserved to be in the penitentiary. He needed to be in there. Okay.
Yeah, he's wrapped up in the TV program. You don't even know them people.
Penitentiary, right? If you killing somebody behind somebody said about a fictional character, your behind need to stay in Folsom, and I hope he never got out. Okay, that's my thing, and y'all know I am not for mass incarceration at all. Okay, I'm not for that, but I'm just telling you, if you killing somebody over them calling a fictional character a bitch, which more than likely in the soap opera she had to be, because that's one of their favorite. That's one of their favorite characters to write is a bitchy bitch in a soap opera. So heavens no, like if that's enough to make you mad to kill somebody, you stay your behind the wall. Okay, that's where you
too mad.
Too mad because you're too mad about something.
You're too mad. You're too mad, baby.
Mr. Steffens, did you want to say something earlier? I didn't know if you had unmuted earlier or not.
Yes, I did, Miss Oreen. How are you?
All right.
Well, I want to say, that the topic that we're talking about is when do you recognize yourself as crooked as I was. I never did think to myself that what I was doing was wrong. I thought what I was doing was natural for me because the cause of doing what I did. At a young age, at 8 years old, I was arrested and put in jail for accident burning a foster home to the ground. But that started my journey of not being afraid of being locked up. So it just carried on and carried on and carried on through the teen years to the adult years until I gained a life sentence. But now I see things a little different, I see that things matter and what you do matters. And so I have tried to walk the straight line of trying to make everything that I do in a corrected manner. I say that I want to make things look good in the eyes of the Lord. So that's what I do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But it took you to evaluate your behavior. In other words, from 8 years old, right? You looked at all of that and realized now you needed to make a change, right? It wasn't that society needed to change for you. You needed to change for yourself, right? You needed to make that change. And that is where you could begin to heal and where things you could begin to progress and grow is because you recognize for yourself. And that's the thing that I want everybody to make sure we walk away from this conversation with is that's one of the most important things is that I found when I'm honest with myself is when I can begin to heal.
When I know it's
and this is the thing, this is what I want to say. I'm gonna tell y'all know that as much as he talking at the end of this session, he gonna tell me that I didn't give him a chance to talk. Go ahead. What you gonna say, baby?
It's like on the way up here, they got a thing and they got all these hot water heaters
outside
and I always think years ago I just come by with a truck and fill the damn thing up
with the water heaters,
but I wouldn't do it now, not because I'm afraid to go to jail. It just don't make no sense. I mean, I've got older And I just want to live my life out like I'm doing.
In peace, right? And
Peace and happiness.
over your shoulder throwing rocks at the penitentiary, right? Everything you do, because if you go there and now somebody's subject to report you or whatever, or you get caught, and now you just got to do all that, or worse than that, the people who you stole from might be looking for you, right? So it's all of that, right? You don't have to worry about none of that at this point because you just fixed it by not stealing the people's water heaters, whether they left them out there or not.
You know what? When I was in Folsom, the news people could come in back then. And I see all these guys get out there and try to show off for the news thing. And I ducked them, right? Because I had a lot of robberies that the time hadn't went by.
The statute of limitations had
the 7 years hadn't went by. And I told them, dude, you gotta be stupid. And then some lady out in the street was watching the news and said, that's the son of a bitch that robbed me. And you know, he went back to court.
got another case.
Got another case. And I thought, you a dumbass.
Well, you got, hey, okay, if it's anything, what have we learned today, class? Pay attention to that statute of limitations. That's not what we teach in here. But it is important. It is important. Because it matters, okay? It matters. But we getting a little bit late. I want to, again, anybody else got anything in particular? Because then if not, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the checkout. And we got quite a few people tonight, which is wonderful. So I want to make sure if there's anybody else had anything burning that they wanted to say here or in the house or otherwise. Otherwise, I'm going to start with checkouts. And we're going to do it in reverse order, okay? We're going to do checkouts here, and then we'll do it with those on Zoom, okay? Everybody good? All right. All right, now I'm coming back here to y'all. Here I come. Okay, so I want you to check out.
I love her.
Give it to somebody else who ain't got their mouth full.
You can't talk about nobody. You was eating too.
Okay, okay, now children,
Hold
no fighting.
hold up.
Thank you.
Get out my business. I said, let her, somebody ain't
Wait,
eat right now.
Now, children, no fighting. Now, children, yes, no fighting.
Like I can't grab her through this screen.
This is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all can't fight. Okay, Miss Cheryl, you ready now?
Thank you all for coming. It's a pleasure that you're here, and we're so happy that you guys are home. Thank you.
All right.
That was so sweet.
Hello, everybody.
Uh-oh.
And I mean, you know, I work a lot now, so I'm taking advantage of the opportunity to come here because, like I said, the environment. I miss you being here, Terrell.
Hey, man, you know what? If you had told me you was gonna be there, I'd have came.
Yeah.
No, I had to come for work.
Oh, so that's what it would have took. Oh, okay. Not for the rest of us.
I was just playing.
We gonna remember that. Oh, really?
No, that ain't the
Check
case.
him out. Check him out.
You know what? Y'all gonna stop that.
Check him out.
Stop it.
Was okay. So that's
Look,
how.
look, I didn't even hear Rufus say nothing today.
They singing rap songs to you, baby.
I ain't hear Rufus say anything today.
We didn't hear you say nothing.
Because he was eating.
No.
No, wait, this is the Pike show today. Pipe got it in today. You know what I'm saying? Pipe came.
Right, because Pike been gone for a couple weeks and he had a whole.
He had to reman his little time. He needed his little time.
But you know what
he missed.
He gonna tell y'all that I didn't let him talk today because he said it all the time. I don't never let Pike talk to let him tell it. But that's okay. Y'all see what happened.
He took over. It was a Pike show.
Okay, and that's all good. We ain't mad.
Who's the brother with Rufus?
My name is Yuri. I'm a lifer too.
That's my housemate.
Oh, that's what's up. All right.
the reason why I got my driver's license, man.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome.
So,
And we're glad
That's
that he
what's up.
came to. His name is Uriel, and he came to join us tonight. What did you think about the topic?
you know what? Honesty is very important. I think once we become honest with every single one with everybody, but first, most importantly, when we become honest with ourselves is when everything starts changing.
It does. It
The
does.
healing,
Yeah.
honesty, responsibility,
Yeah.
caring, and understanding
Yeah.
starts kicking in.
It does.
And I think when I became honest with myself, you know, I went to jail at a very young age. I was 17 years old. I came out when I was 40. So I pretty much grew up in there, you know. But, you know, AA was one of those groups that gave me that honesty, those principles, those values. That was the first group that I attended and allowed me to be honest with myself and said that that had a lot of shortcomings, that I had a lot of anger, resentment, and shame and guilt and pain. And I was carrying that for a long, long time. And I understood that I had a lot of causative factors in my life, in my childhood, a lot of traumas, you know what I mean, that I was holding on to. And until I started letting out, venting, relying on the support, the healing started. And once the healing started, the peace came. You know what I mean? But I had to humiliate myself.
That's right.
I never wanted to be in these groups. I never wanted to open because
Right.
I thought that's not for us men, you know?
Yeah.
But I understand, you know, the best thing you could do is open up and give it all out, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here because I just started a new relationship.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, the class is about relationships.
Uh-huh.
And it's not just about a man and a woman.
Right.
It's about relationship with the human being in general, everything
Yeah.
in life. So I just wanted to come here and share and maybe learn a little, listen. And I told her I was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I learned something. I told her, you know. But you know what? I'm here because, like I said, you know, I did some horrible things in life, and I feel ashamed of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, God gave me a second chance, and here I am. I'm a grown man, a different man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a man that believes in God, a man that cares about the human being. You know, me, even just a simple little pet, man. But I'm here and I'm blessed because I wanted to come with my buddy. I'm proud of him because, you know, Rufus, I'm talking about Rufus, right? He's not, and I've been grateful for him, you know. Sometimes, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, man. This man right here, man, sometimes he would sit there in the living room and he didn't do too much, right? But he tried to help everybody out. There was not a day he wasn't driving people around, trying to help. He's always lending a hand. He didn't have no money in that pocket, man. But that didn't stop him. He still made sure that you got to where you needed to go. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And because of him, I'm grateful. And it's somebody that I appreciate it. I used to sit there and talk to him every day. And, you know, I used to give him a hard time. Mike knows, right, buddy? Mike, you know.
Mike ain't gonna tell the truth. Mike ain't gonna say that because he ain't gonna give Rufus the credit in public. He might tell him in private, but he ain't gonna tell him in public. And so I'm glad you are giving him his props for being
Give
that.
his flowers, hey.
That's right, Rufus got the flowers, man.
Give him his flowers.
Man.
Yeah.
And like I said, he ain't changed one bit. He got money in his pocket right now.
And he's still helping.
He's fixing his car. He's making sure everything's right, man. And he's still pushing.
Well, this is one of the things. What what's important about what Uriel just said is how important it is that he began to be honest with himself. And that's when he started venting and saying those things that quote unquote men aren't supposed to talk about or whatever, secrets and keeping secrets and shame and all that stuff. That was what was hindering you. And holding on, another thing that was really important is holding on to those traumas, right? When we hold on to our traumas from being young, it actually hurts us more than anything else. It's like allowing people who harmed us to continue to harm us, even though
they had a power over you.
Yet, exactly, they have power over our emotions, how we feel, and all of those things, and how we move forward. Now, the other thing that I want to make sure that you know is that girl is welcome too. This is for the whole loved one. Bring her, because let me tell you something. If she's not accustomed, if she's never dealt with a man who's been formerly incarcerated, and particularly a man who's done a long period of time, there's a lot of stuff she doesn't know, and she's not going to understand about your behavior. Okay. So what that does is it creates confusion, and you may not be able to explain all of it to her exactly the way you're feeling it or thinking it, but somebody else, and me as a person who dealt with a man who was incarcerated, I may understand, or Diane may understand. We may be able to explain to her. She may have questions or be willing to ask questions or things that we may be able to help her with that can actually help your relationship to survive. Because I've seen so many relationships die because the people coming home from incarceration don't know how to express and explain what they feel. The people at home have never dealt with the issues, and we don't know what you guys go through being incarcerated. And the one thing we all agreed a couple of weeks ago is that there's one fear that we both have, and that is that you'll go back to right? Everybody. Everybody's afraid. So when you put fear in an equation, it just takes things, the possibility of it going off the rails get pretty high because there's misunderstanding and everybody, and when you acting in fear, oh my gosh, right?
You're angry all the time.
Yeah, everybody responds to fear differently. And so if I'm afraid and I don't know what's going on, then I may act different. And if your girlfriend hasn't, somebody who doesn't know about what happens to people and doesn't know the kind of psychological warfare that you just survived, there are going to be things about you she just doesn't understand. And she don't have no basis for it. She don't have no foundation to try to deal with it or even to have compassion about what you're feeling because she doesn't know.
Even to sit down and have a conversation with him openly. You know what I'm saying? Because she just don't understand a lot of things that went on with you while you were gone. You know what I'm saying? So just to sit down and talk with you openly, a woman be scared to do that sometimes.
Yeah.
So one of the things is she's been in prior relationship with people incarcerated. So I actually met her having that conversation. People in prison. I was getting my hair cut and I met her and I started talking to her. She's a mother of 2 children. And you know, I'm an open book. She knows my whole life. And I sat there and I spoke to her about my whole life because I try to put her out there. You know I'm an open book.
Right.
I'm not gonna hold back. I know what I've done. I know who I am. But it is what it is. And she understands me. And she tells me, you're a survivor. You're a person that, you know, you made it. You're out here. And we're gonna keep you out here.
Yeah.
So she's a good support.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay. Any last comments from you, my dear?
I just appreciate I always walk away with something.
Good. We got something for you. Okay, y'all got to go to Pike because if I don't go to him in the room, y'all gonna say y'all know I'm gonna be in trouble. Any last comments from you today, sir?
You know what? When I talk, it might sound silly sometimes, but
no.
If I speak the truth in my mind, you know,
that's your feelings. That's your thoughts. How do that sound silly?
It don't.
No, I'm just saying that I'm too old to play games.
Right.
I mean, that's a fact. But I hope everybody that like mostly in the Francisco homes, because I was in the Francisco homes for 5 years. I hope you make it. I do. Because she gives you a lot of breaks. A lot of people don't think so, but how often do you see her at one of the houses? You know, what kind of place can you go to where you can walk out in the middle of the night and go where you want? You know, and you go to these other places that they lock the doors.
You can't even go out in the middle of the day.
Yeah, but I felt good at the Francisco homes. And I hope that most of you all what's in the Francisco homes takes advantages of what she gives you. Now she's a pain in the ass and she's money hungry, but she still will bust her ass to do something for you. When I couldn't get my social security number, and they kept screwing with me. She finally told them, you know, the second time around, she told them, give me a supervisor. She says, you don't have to give him a damn card right now, but you gotta tell him what his real number is. Cause I had so many names and shit issued by the social security people that I'd forget who the hell I was.
So is your real name Pike?
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? This is the first time that I could use my real name.
Wow.
I mean, I went years with different names. You know.
Wait.
Bike.
Wait.
Biker.
That sounds like a game we could play. How many names did Robert Pike have, right? And we could come up with all kinds of variations on the theme. It sounds like a whole lot of fun to me, right?
And social security cards.
Okay, and social security numbers to match it. Don't play with him. This was the pre-digital age where you could do a whole lot of stuff. Now they tying everything together and it don't work that way anymore. Yeah. Mr. Oscar, I want you to unmute for me, dear, and tell me your comments or thoughts about the topic tonight.
Yeah, you know what? I like that topic because I remember when I was in prison, a lot of people they don't like. I know I make a mistake. I know I do it wrong. I know I'm not perfect. I know I make a bad decision when I commit my crime. But a lot of people, when you tell the truth, they don't like it. Not even in prison, outside too. I remember when my daughter visited me the first time in prison, she asked me, hey, you are in prison because you have too many women, too many relationships. I say, oh, I don't got to tell you right now, but next time I got to tell you. And she told me, oh, because my uncle, my aunt told me that you're in prison because you got too many relationships, you got in trouble. I say, well, I got to tell you next time. And later she asked me again, she came back and visit me. And she asked me, I want you to be honest. It's true that you have 3 daughters, me and another 2 daughters. I say, are you ready to listen to me the truth? I got to be honest with you. I tell her, yes, I have another 2 daughters with different relationships. Oh, now I believe my family because they say you have too many relationships. That's why you're in prison. I say, well, I tell you the truth. You ask me a question, if you have another daughter. I say, yeah, you got 2 more daughters. I want to be honest with you because I want to build a good relationship with you. I don't want to lie to you all the time. I used to lie too much, but no more. And she got resentment on me because I tell the truth. And she don't visit me no more. And her mom have a good relationship with me. Her mom visit me. I say, where is my daughter? She said, oh, your daughter is really mad at you. I said, why? Because she believed what their uncle, their aunt told her, like, you are in there because you got too many relationships and you have 2 daughters. Okay, that means she want me to lie to her? She told me to be honest. I told her, like, I got 2 daughters, different women, different relationships. But she believed her family, like I am in prison because of relationship. And now what's that one? What different issues, you know? And she not want to visit me.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, she don't want to visit me. Her mom pushed her to visit me. And she visit me every time she go visit, she didn't even want to talk to me. I tell her straight up, you know what? If you don't feel happy to visit me, don't come to visit me. Straight up. And she said, oh, you hurt my feeling. I said, oh yeah, I hurt your feeling. Because you don't want to talk to me. You don't want to even look in my face. She said, oh, I can't hear because my mom forced me to come. I said, okay, don't come.
Don't force her.
She got the excuse like she don't visit me because I tell her not visit me. But I tell her straight up, and I be honest with her, you know. Until right now, we talking, but she still has resentment. But a lot of time, I know I'm not perfect, but I like to be honest all the time. And people always think like because I'm honest, I hurt their feelings. And they got mad at me all the time. So I be honest, straight up. I know maybe I don't use the right word to be honest, but people doesn't like. I be honest with you. I know I'm not perfect, but I try to be honest the most because I know if we're not honest, we are in denial.
And it's going to come out sooner or later either way. And one of the things that's really important, I want any woman out here that might hear my voice, I want you to remember this. When you ask a man, now mind you, this is her father, but when you ask any man to be honest, once you ask him to be honest, you got to be prepared to hear whatever it is that he said And if you fall out all over the floor and cry and become hysterical and all of this kind of stuff, and now you don't want to talk no more, what you just did is you closed off the opportunity for them to continue to be honest. And now when they're not honest with you, now you're going to be mad about
that. Now you're mad.
Now you're mad about that. Well, you can't have it both ways. Either you want the truth, or like Jack Nicholson said, you can't handle the truth. And if you don't think you can handle the truth, leave that alone. Don't try to traffic in truth if you can't handle it. But something else you said, Oscar, that's really important that I have found. And that is, a lot of people don't, they're more, I can tell you in no uncertain terms, I get in trouble more for telling the truth than I do for telling a lie.
It's true.
That way. Not none that I could think of, and certainly whatever I did, that was years ago. And like I told you earlier today, I'm too damn old. Who am I going to tell a lie for? What am I lie to y'all for? You know what I'm saying? I can't think of none, but that don't mean that I haven't. You see what I'm saying? When I was young, like I told y'all, if I thought my mother was going to whoop that butt, I might lie to her.
Well, people don't want to hear the truth.
I know.
And that's scary because you're trying to open up and change your ways and share and ask for help, and they don't want to know the truth. We have too many people that act like ostriches. They want to hide from reality and the truth. And the purpose of this course and class is we want to be open and share and admit our faults, but a lot of times people don't want to hear it.
Yeah, and if nothing else, I gotta be honest with me. I gotta give it to myself straight with no chaser, because then I can move from there. Don't water my Hennessy down. I don't want no Coca-Cola. I don't want no lime in it. I don't want no 7-Up. I don't want no apple. Me straight. I want mine neat. Give it to me.
I'm not about to play with you.
Telling too much story. Okay, Di. I'm gonna go on and move to somebody else. I'm gonna have Terrell. Can you your comments, your checkout for tonight, sir?
I'm just listening, and honesty is the best way. You got to be honest with yourself, because you got to look in that mirror every day. And I'm like this. Excuse my language, but who the freak are you? You ain't God. I ain't finna lie. I don't have to lie to you.
I ain't got to lie to kick it.
And if you feel I gotta lie, kick rocks.
Get to moving. I know that's right. Thank you, sweetie.
So just be yourself and understand that, out here in society, the real is the fake is the real. People rather hear a lie than the truth.
Too often.
So don't take it personal. You got people blowing smoke up your butt and lying to your face, and you know it. Just take it and keep it moving. Just know that person ain't honest with theyself, and they damn sure ain't gonna be honest with you because they lying to your face. But don't take it personal, and don't spew that BS that somebody else brought to you on the next person, because everybody's different, So my thing is, just don't take it personal. Be honest with yourself and use them intuitions to vibe out them fake people and all of that buffoonery be going on out here. And just stay true to yourself, and you're gonna be all right. And surround yourself around the same like-minded type of people. That's all. And you'll be okay.
Thank you.
There's a whole lot of fake people out here.
For sure. Mr. Terry, you want to unmute and give us your final comments? You got to unmute, sweetie.
All right, I got you. Hey, Noreen, you got a good thing going there. That's opening up. When I went to prison, I had to admit my wrongs and my alcohol abuse, and then join AA to get any help. Because before I could get any help, I had to admit my wrongs. And before I could get forgiveness, I had to ask for forgiveness from everybody around me, because I hurt a lot of people. And when I got out of prison and joined AA, I had to do the same thing. I had to admit my wrongs and my alcohol use, and what I was in prison and everything, and all the trouble I caused. And it wasn't that easy, because you don't want to admit to your alcoholism, but I did. And anyways, I'm 30 years dry and clean. I don't drink, smoke, or do drugs. I'm not into criminality. God has been good to me. I only got 3 more months before I can get my driver's license, and before I finish DUI school, and it won't be long before I finish other schools. But God has been good, and I love it. That's all.
And guess what? And when that happens, you can get a car and you can come pick me up in the car and we could ride around. We could cruise Crenshaw. Don't that sound like fun? That sounds like fun to me. Me
and Crenshaw.
Cruising Crenshaw.
I've never been on Crenshaw.
That sound like and I never cruised Crenshaw either, so it sounds like a fun thing to do. We can experience it together, okay?
Yeah, well, I just one of our buddies that just got a truck. He went around a roundabout, 25 miles an hour around a roundabout, and turned his rig over.
Oh my God!
Better do it. Better do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're getting your stuff together, babe. I'm glad you are, and I can't wait. I'm proud of you because you've hung with it for a while, and that's a wonderful thing. And you've been diligent about those classes and everything. So I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you, and congratulations on being so close. And as far as you've come, we know you're not going back. We know you the other way is no way to go. And I do want to say this too. I had in the relationship that I had that was so painful, I had made an idol and an addiction out of the man that I was in the relationship with. And I literally had to treat it like an addiction in order for me to get over the relationship. I had to first admit that I had a problem. I was weak in dealing with this person. I had something that was stronger than me that I couldn't get over. Then I had to just be honest. I had to acknowledge what I was doing, acknowledge my participation. And then I had to make amends with myself for what I participated in. You know, it's just different things, but I had to look at it and function like it was an addiction in order for me to get over it. That's kind of the steps that I use. So when you guys talk about AA giving you a good foundation for being honest and moving forward, that's a good thing. And I encourage anybody to use that. Mr. Hyung, Mr. Kang, if you can, I want you to unmute and give us any of your thoughts on the conversation for tonight.
Yeah, I wasn't able to hear most of it, but about the being honest to oneself. I noticed that it's very easy to be honest about other people's problems, right? But when it comes to our problems, our emotions come to play, and that helps us to lie about our own problems. And emotions really affect our honesty to ourselves. And so I think that's one of the things is it's kind of like when you see one of your friends is about to get in trouble, you tell them, oh, forget about it. Don't worry about it. But when you're in the same situation, all of a sudden it's the biggest deal in the world. And you're always saying, well, it's different for me. You don't understand. It's this and that. But the thing is you're basically, your emotions are allowing you to lie to yourself. And so
was that not just for our conversation that caused us to have this topic tonight? Diane, not the whole thing, somebody saying it was good, it was okay for me to do this with somebody else, but it wasn't.
That's what I said.
Them. That was literally the conversation. And she was like,
okay, yeah.
To have. Like, you right. I don't care whether you heard we said it or not, you know what we talking about.
All right, yeah. So yeah, and that's the thing is we to really do that, we have to learn to kind of separate ourselves from our emotions and really look ourselves in the mirror straight for what it is, because we know what the situation is and we have to see it at face value. That's all I gotta say.
And so listen, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ask you to go easy on the spicy foods. Try only healthy foods is just still good, so you can come back next week or maybe even the week after that, you know what I'm saying, so we don't go long. Okay,
all righty, thank you everyone
having you. Mr. Hall.
Yeah, how you doing?
All right, how you doing? What you think about our topic tonight?
Oh, it was a good topic, as always. For me, yeah, honesty has always benefited me because for me, it's always helped me to find out the answer. Whether it was me saying that I don't know and somebody could give me the answer, or rather me telling the truth about what I'm doing so I can stop doing that. So it's always been it's always helped me to find out what, the answer to be, to reach my goals and stuff.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, talk to me. Talk to me, Jaime. You gotta unmute, sweetie.
Oh, hello. Well, I think it was a good topic, talk about honesty, and I know when you're so honest, sometimes you hurt even your own family. Sometimes when you're telling the real deal, and, or what you think about your thought, that can affect them too. Because I have to be careful when I talk to my family, because sometimes they get kind of freak out, like, wait a minute, you're not in prison anymore. I said, yeah, but sometimes I talk like that, and so I'm learning,
Well,
so kind of.
this group, Jaime, for families as well, because they may not understand why you're talking like that, but somebody on this call or in these sessions understand and can explain it. And it's sometimes easier to hear the answer is not your direct situation. So let's say that we're having this conversation and we're talking about something that you and your family member have gone through. They can hear the solution through our conversation without it being personal, which is again why I do this group the way that I do it and make it available to people, because some people don't have the come in a room like this or into this space and be able to have somebody understand what they're talking about. So it's really important for people to have somebody that understands what they're going through. And so I'm just glad that you were able to join us and to participate, and hopefully we'll see you soon, okay?
Thank you. I'm here.
All right, Mr. Jonathan.
Princess, they're not talking to you.
Let me see. Let me add. I'm gonna press this and
Nobody.
allow you to
Unmute.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I enjoyed the topic tonight. As always, I've enjoyed all of my meetings here. As far as honesty is concerned, I didn't begin to heal until I began to be honest with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I spent a long time being dishonest with everybody else. And that caused me to also be dishonest to myself. Dealt with a lot of denial and so forth. So when I began to be honest with myself, I had to take a good hard look at something that I didn't want to see. And as I began to do that, I began to heal. Yes, it wasn't easy. But I did begin to heal, and I began to deal with a lot of problems that held me back for many years. A lot of problems that caused me to do the things that I did that sent me to prison. And even while I was in prison, I didn't get any better. I got worse. So it wasn't until toward the end that I woke up, started being more honest with myself, and then I found some help. I began to heal at that point. So now it's a lot easier to be honest with myself, because I don't want to be in denial. And I definitely don't want to go back to where I used to be.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so, yeah.
Mr. Bradley.
Hey, okay, yeah, I like it. And when I started being honest with myself.
Excuse me.
Can you hear me now? When I started being honest with myself, I stopped blaming the world.
1 second, baby. Just 1 second,
Okay.
Mr. Bradley. What's happening with you?
Your mother told you.
What's going on with you? Okay, so what we need for you to do is leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, go. Time for you to go. Yeah. Uh-huh. You ready to get accepted? Cause you don't even know where you at.
They're your mom and your sister. Come on.
You don't even know where you at, baby, and who you in the presence of. And this can go so bad for you. So what I need for you to do is be respectful. I'm gonna respect you, and I'm gonna respectfully ask you to excuse yourself. And then you can go on, okay? I appreciate that, okay? Thank you so much. Here, come get a close-up, baby. Make sure you got the close-up one, okay? So you know who it is, okay? Yeah, okay, thank you, love. Go ahead and go. Mm-hmm. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm sorry, Mr. Bradley.
and you handle that quite well. Okay. Okay, for money, when I start being honest with myself, I stop blaming everyone else for me being in prison because I chose the friends that I had. I chose the people I was hanging out with, and I stopped, tripping on my rap bastard crying me, and because it's all my fault that I chose these individuals to be a part of my life. But at the same time, I learned how to forgive myself when I started being honest with myself because then I was mad at myself. So I learned to forgive myself so I can move on with my life. And at the same time, when you said about I guess certain people like me, lifers and stuff like that, we had to learn how to express ourselves. We had to learn how to share our feelings of what was going on because for them to let us out to deal with society and stuff like that. But like I said, the topic, I love the topic, and it was like a lot of things that other people share. I really enjoyed and stuff because it's like wow, that's how I feel. Like family, by me being honest, my family ain't ready for my honesty. Because I'll be honest with them. I'm be honest with myself. I'm be honest with them, and they're not ready to hear the truth of what I have to say and stuff. And so, therefore, like the other guy say, your family's not ready. They can't take it. They can't take who I am today because I'm so honest and truthful. I don't say things that hurt people. I say things because this is my truth and this is how I feel and this is how I see things. I tell them I could be wrong, but this is my honest truth, how I feel about certain situation. And they just blow up, they just wig out. And it's like, oh my God. But that's something they got to deal with, not me. I'm happy who I am. I'm happy of expressing myself the way I am because now people come to me for questions and stuff. I like someone else said, you're not ready to hear the truth.
Right.
If you're not ready to hear the truth, I tell them the truth, they go berserk. They have a shit fit. I don't care. I'm being honest. You should never ask me the question. Now, from that part, a lot of people respect me because they know I'm being fair and giving the honest to God truth for how I feel. And so, yeah, I love the topic, though. Thank you.
Wonderful. One of the things that you just said that's really powerful, which is why I always enjoy checkout. And that's because one of the things you said is when you're honest with yourself, it causes you to stop blaming other people for the circumstances in your life. And when you start taking responsibility for the circumstances in your life, it gives you an opportunity to change it. Okay. So that's what's most important. Yeah. And James, are you with me? James, okay. Well, we're gonna keep it moving. I just want to thank y'all for being here. This was another great session of Free to Heal.
And where's my money?
And he still need his money. He still need his money. Every week.
You handled that situation great.
Okay, we on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out on all the social media. Please leave comments, topics you want to discuss. I just want to thank you guys for being here, and we will see you all next week at Free to Heal. Bye, y'all. Bye.
Bye.